Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Hometown Heroes WA, where we're going to be talking about all things motorcycling. But did you know that WA has one of the most passionate communities when it comes to motorcycling here in Australia? Did you also know that CF Moto is the largest growing brands? So much so that today we are in CF Moto Midland, which is the second largest dealership in Australia. Also, Midland is the mecca, the headquarters for all things motorcycling. So today, guys, we're going to be sitting down with the owners of CF Moto Midland. They run the business, they love the business, everything to do with motorcycling, they're going to share with you. So come with me and let's go hear their story. Hey guys, welcome to Hometown Heroes WA. We're sitting down today with CF Moto Midland. We've got both the business owners here. I'm Steve.
How you going, mate?
And Deb.
How are you, Quentin?
No worries. Well, guys, I'm really excited to get to know a little bit behind the brand and into your story, Steve. So if you can, just take us back to where this passion for what you have for motorcycling, where that all started.
Well, I had a passion when I was a real young fella, like about 10 years of age, but I didn't have anything to ride. So I had a push bike, not a motorbike. So I didn't get my first motorbike until I was 18, which was a Honda CB750. I met some interesting characters from the eastern states, and off we went around Australia with zero experience, zero knowledge of what we were going into. But it was a great 3 years, and when we got back from Sydney, I sold the Honda and bought myself a trail bike because I thought that's what I needed. Then I needed a motocross bike, and then I discovered road racing in 1982, which is what I played with for the next 30 years.
So you're WA born and bred?
WA born and bred, Central Wheat Belt boy, yeah. Yep. Meriden.
Yeah.
So.
And then how did you transition from obviously taking it as a passion or a hobby to
right.
professionally?
That's what, when I first got it, I got onto, I used my old Honda 4 and I took it to the racetrack, and I couldn't understand how these people were riding these things so fast. Because mine had done about 170,000 Ks and I'd never looked at it because I didn't understand. So my knowledge was very limited. And then we struggled on from there, and then one day a guy come from the eastern states. It was like a great white hope, and his bike was special. It had a set of handlebars on it and an exhaust pipe out the side, and it went really well, and I said I could ride this really fast. So I rang up my local dealer, which was McCulloch Suzuki in those days, and they supplied me or helped me get into a brand new GSX 1100, which we went racing on for 2 years, and from there it was just progression of more and more motorcycles. Further we got down, the more professional we got. Then we were retired for a couple of years because I'd sort of finished with that, or so I thought. And then a couple of fellas at a hotel one night grabbed me and said, oh, we're going to build a post-classic road racer, which is a 1971 model motorcycle, and it happened to be a Honda 750. Would you be interested in riding it? And of course, with a few sherbets under the wing, I just said, yeah, I can ride one of them, no worries. Let's have it. And so over the next 6 months, they built me one, and we got our first race meeting, we got 2 seconds in a DNF, but it was still a pretty good effort from zero. And from there, next year I won the club championship, which I won quite a few years in a row. And I won a couple of state championships. Never got the gong, never actually received the gong, which was an Australian title. We got very close. 1995, we were winning it by about 20 feet, which is all, you only got to win it by this much, but we were trying to win it, and last lap, I just started the last lap and it expired underneath me, and so I stopped the bike and got off it, and gee, I wasn't very upset. And my mate who was helping me was a bloke called Reggie Bruce. Reggie come down and lent me a hand to push it back up the pits, and he said, where did we go wrong, Steve? And I said, we just done one lap too much practice somewhere in the last 4 days. And that sort of, yeah, after that I did another couple of years, won another couple of state titles, didn't bother going to the eastern states again, it got too hard, and slowly but surely wound down to where we are now, which is just running this business.
Yeah, yeah. I'm interested to know how competitive it was back then to where it is now. Can you shed some light on that?
The difference is that I was racing a 1971 model motorcycle. The guys, the young fellas that are out there now, they're racing brand new motorcycles. So the best time we got was a 1:04 and a bit, 1 minute 4 seconds and a little bit. And the young fellas nowadays are doing 57s, 56s, so they're going really fast. But when you put it all in perspective, we were going very, very fast for the time. We were racing against blokes like Rex Wolfen from the Eastern States. He was multi-Australian champion, really took some rocking off. I got third place in the Phil Irvine Memorial Cup at Phillip Island, so that was a bit of a gong, and the old collar lives up in the mantelpiece for the rest of them.
So with that, obviously you race competitively. How much of that is based on the motorcycle, and how much of that is based on your skill?
I've always managed to ride anything, so as I've got older, I've got slower. But yeah, back in the earlier days, in the 90s and into the 2000s, I was going as fast as anyone in Australia in that class. To get into a 1.4 at Wanneroo Park on an old 750 Honda is just unbelievable. But we actually were doing that, and we were doing that week in and week out. We were doing it the whole time. The bike was immaculately prepared. It was an old Honda 750, and it was oversized to 1155cc, so she was a big girl, and it had lots of horsepower. It was a real handful to ride. It really was, but I'll remember it forever.
Deb, we're going to bring you into the picture and really just your introduction to the business, as well as a bit of a story as to how your involvement with the business and Steve as well.
Well, I come from a motorcycling background as well. My father raced motorcycles. Unfortunately, he was killed in a speedway accident when I was 1 year old. And I didn't have a lot to do with motorcycling again until I met up with Steve. I ride, and I've been around Wanneroo track a few times, but not in a race. Because there's one part of the equation that you missed, and that's the desire to win. And you have people that have red line fever, and Steve's got it in a big way. There are only three options for him. He either wins, he blows up, or he crashes. There's no middle ground. Whereas I'm quite a different motorcyclist. I just enjoy riding. I was working for the bank and was a business manager for the NAB. Then needed to come back into our business to help it along. We had a couple of problems there that needed to be sorted, and never left again. So that was in 2011. That's basically my story, my history. When I came back, it was over at the old premises at 58 LG Road. And it was at the beginning of a really tough period business-wise. There was not a lot of money around. It was from 2011 to 2019. We had made the decision to stay in the industry and probably regretted that decision many times during that time. It was really tough. In 2019, it started to turn around. CF Moto, which we had taken on in 2014, had really started to come into its own, and it started to grow exponentially. And it was before COVID and before that pandemic period that we could actually see CF Moto starting to really gain some traction. And they have just gone from strength to strength.
Amazing. So obviously CF Moto is one of the fastest growing brands in the world.
It is the fastest growing. Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
CF Moto Midland is the second largest in Australia.
That's correct.
Now, how do you guys maintain that reputation and that standard? What's it?
We were very fortunate that we actually got on the CF Moto train at the correct time. So we had gained a lot of traction, and we'd gained the reputation of looking after our customers with the CF Moto product before it actually exploded. We have made some really tough decisions. We moved from the other premises to this premises because we simply outgrew where we were. We had crates of bikes out on the verge. It's amazing that the Shire didn't come around and chip us, but anyway, so we moved into this premises here, which has got wonderful frontage, a dedicated showroom, big car park. You can see it from the highway, you can see it from the freeway, from the road highway. Just really fantastic exposure. And then, of course, the business just went from, it nearly doubled. It just started to really hammer.
It's just grown so quickly that you talk percentages of increase, and we started talking about 20%, 30%, then we started talking 120%, 150, 400%. Those sort of figures we have achieved in the last 2 years, and then shifting to here, it's just exploded again. It's just taken us to another level.
I want to dissect that with you, Steve. Like, how did you go from, okay, hobby to competitive to now, okay, I want to start a business, right? How did you have some kind of, did you come from a business background?
No, I was a sheep shearer.
Oh, you're a sheep shearer. So, yeah.
And I ran into and I had friends down here, and I used to drive down on the weekends and go to the racetrack. I just couldn't keep away from the place. Once it got hold of me, that was it. I was besotted with it. And a good friend of mine, Peter Wallace, he sort of said, well, you need to be doing a job down here. And I said, well, yeah. So I come down and lend you a hand for a few weeks, put a few bikes together. And then I'm thinking I might buy a lawnmower around, because I thought with a lawnmower around I'd be able to race motorbikes and mow lawns. Can't run your lawn today, dear. We're motor racing motorbikes. So that was the plan. And a bloke called John Craig walked in the back of Peter Wallace's shop and said, oh, what are you doing, Steve? So I'm putting bikes together. So I know you better come with me and work with me, I think. So then I was instantly sucked into the system. So once I got into there, that got me to a mob called Two Wheel Wholesale. Then I went to Bike World, and I worked in about 10 shops, I suppose. Then in 1989, we eventually bought Highway Yamaha, which was just down the road a little bit. So then we changed again after that to further down the other end of town, which was a big financial step, and it was we purchased the building as well, so we had no choice back in those days. And from there I went to about 2002, and we sold it. And we were locked out for a couple of years, of course, and then a mate of mine wanted me to start a motorbike shop, and I said, no, we're finished with motorbikes. We had enough, and he talked me into it, and he died of cancer, and we ended up with a motorbike shop. So, and then away we went from there. So
kind of projected to where you are today.
Yeah.
You mentioned the National Bank, and how did you know when to pack that in and go all in with the vision and the kind of like the entrepreneurial dream that Steve had set, and go, I'm going to back Steve.
I think when we first started in 2005, the new shop that Steve's Motorcycles, that was what I wanted to do. But when you start a new shop, you don't have any money. Yes. And my wage as a business manager was enough to support the shop and get it up and running. Then once it sort of was motoring along by itself, we made some investments with property, etc. And that's what my money was used for, or my income. And then really it was the reason why I actually left the bank and came to the business was probably because of some problems that were within our business with staff, and also because I think I was sick of driving to Northam every day to go to work, or riding to Northam.
So I made a drive to South Australia instead.
I used to drive to Northam until they gave me a car and told me I used to ride until they gave me a car and told me I had to drive it, because I had to go and see clients and look the part. Scooting around on a motorbike just wasn't it wasn't quite what they thought was up to speed. Yes, I think it was just a whole heap of circumstances that came together just in that November. I think we needed somebody to take control of the administration side of the business, and I thought, well, I can do that. So, yeah.
I love that, because here, obviously, you guys are married, a couple, business based here in Midland. I want to know how you guys make it work as a family business. both? Do you take work home? How do you guys operate together? Because the chemistry and the passion you guys both have.
We don't take work home.
That's
And
the
that was
answer.
a rule that Steve made early on. I was very passionate when I first come into the business. I just wanted to live, breathe, eat it all day, every day. He'd been doing it for years. And if I spoke about it at home, he goes, no. And to this day, it's like that. We can have a disagreement at work, walk in the back door, it's gone. And vice versa. If we've got a disagreement at home, we walk out and we just put our work hat on and we're fine. Not that we disagree very often, but he's...
Stays at work?
Yeah,
Yeah.
about once every minute, I suppose. Not very often.
Yeah, not often at all.
What about yourself, Steve? How important is to have, Deb here to pretty much just
Look, it's a life story. The whole thing. You patch it up, and we bought a bus for 10 grand, and we decked it out, and so we had a bus, and we drove it to South Australia, took it to Phillip Island, and it was great. It was a home away from home, and we were doing something that, we're doing something. I was just about getting tired of racing, and it just put us on another plateau altogether. It was great. We used to love drive along the bus and towing a trailer that was way too big for the poor old bus. And I've been going on a head limit one year going over there, and I reckon we're doing about 60 kilometres an hour. That's as fast as it'd go. And that was the pace we were doing, and the old bus was just jiggling along. But yeah, no, it was great. Loved it.
I think business-wise, we've been very lucky in that we can work together. We bring very different skills to the business. Steve has an unbounded knowledge of motorcycles. He has fantastic people skills. He has a following of customers that really just want to come and speak to Steve. I am probably much more process-oriented, much more over the financial side of the business, and
Do you complement each other?
I think so.
Try to.
I think we do.
Yeah.
I manage staff. He is really customer oriented. It works well. We're also a very family oriented business in that my daughter is the HR manager for Powerhouse, and she also does the accounts here. She's on maternity leave at the moment. My brother is the sales manager here. And we own 2 other businesses in a different industry, and we have his daughter working in those as well. We like to employ our family members.
We're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Okay, Steve, I know that you've got a very long and successful career as a racer. How have you managed to take that passion and that competitiveness from your racing side and bring it across to business?
I think that's a very important question, and it's a hard one to answer. But really, if you didn't have the dedication to go road racing on a professional basis, you wouldn't do anything at all. You wouldn't be good at anything. So, really, to be a successful road racer, you'll find that most people that are successful at it are also quite good business people, because they can put it all together in one big package, and they go, well, okay, I need to be doing this, And you get guys like Michael doing Valentino Rossi. Valentino Rossi owns every T-shirt that's ever made in the last 10 years. It's part of his business is the T-shirt. So you go to a race meeting and you're buying a Valentino Rossi T-shirt. Mightn't say that on the T-shirt, but that's what it is.
So is that competitive side, but there's a differentiator between going there and avidly just competing, but then having that killer instinct where you're going out there to win.
You got to go. You got to go. Yeah.
So talk to me about that. So what was your mindset when, specifically in racing? What was your mindset there? I know that you were focused when someone was talking to you. You wouldn't interact. So
yeah, I have a lot of problems interacting with other people at the racetrack. My wife used to say that I was quite rude.
Okay.
But it's just the way it is. But the whole thing as a package, yes. It's you've got to look at it from both sides, I suppose, but it's really, really important that you do get it right, and to get it right means that it's got to be done properly in the first place. And if it's not done properly in the first place, you won't succeed at it. But I can remember at the racetrack one day, and I was having a race, and I was racing. There was 4 Eastern Staters racing against me, and we were going up what's called the Esses, and I was that out of control, and I was just staying on. I was only just on. I thought, gee, we're going that fast. It's amazing we haven't crashed. And then I thought, get your head back together, because we are not going to crash. We're on our way to a win, you know, which the bike failed. So that was the problem with a lot of race bikes. It's still a problem today. If you got one that's old and you're going to turn it into a new one, it will cost you a lot of money, like unbelievable amounts of cash. And and if you're going to go fast, well, you've got to pour the cash in. In 1995, when we were chasing the Australian titles, we spent 35 grand in 6 months just keeping it going.
Wow.
And you think, how could you spend $36,000 on something that looks like it's worth about 20 cents? And that's the way it went. So we had to prepare the bike accordingly. People say, how come it doesn't break down very often? It only let me down 3 times in 20 years. I said, because we put new bits in all the time, you know? What's a new crankshaft, so we give it a new crankshaft, new set of rods, new set of pistons, bolt it all in. 6 months later, do it all again.
What's your number one advice that you would give to anyone who's looking to start their career in motorcycling professionally?
Work out what they want to do first, whether you want to do it professionally or just have a ride in. Because there's people that are quite happy just riding a motorcycle at a pace. Everyone likes to win, that's the cream on the cake, but if it's not going to be there and I'm not that sort of person, I can't make it, well, I understand that what you can do. You can still have a lot of fun and ride a motorcycle, but you're never going to make it. And you get the other end of the spectrum, guys are just latched onto it, and they go really, really fast. There's a few guys out there at the moment in the A-grade scene, modern day motorbikes, and they're very fast. The Stronach boys, Bronson Pickett, all these guys are dedicated, pointed in one direction, and when they're on full bore, the pace is amazing,
Well, tell us about one of your motorcycles that you got here. I know, obviously, being in your showroom, but which one is most popular, to ride that you believe?
I would say the MT 800.
Okay, let's have a look at this one.
It's an all-rounder. It's not a complete off-road bike, and it's not a complete on-road bike. But it is an all-rounder. So it's a water-cooled 800 cc's. It's got a heated seat, heated hand grips. It's got a lot of features.
Packing a lot of
punch and all.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's got bar work all the way around it. It's got the right tyres for the job. It's on spoke wheels.
What year is this one?
This is brand new. This is a 2023 model. Just been released. It's the first white one we've had in the shop. So
I know you had a couple of other
decent television screen on the front of it.
I saw that. Yeah, we've got the screen here as well.
And they've also got a built-in device, so if someone pinches it, you can just look on your phone.
So track it.
Yeah, and it'll just track it for you and tells you where your bike is.
Oh, nice.
And it just looks like that, so no one would know that it's got a tracker on it. It's quite interesting. But we have sold quite a lot of these motorcycles. They've been very, very popular. The next most popular one is probably this little girl here. This particular bike here is a classic example. NK650 was the first major model we had in 2013. And it's still making it today. You can see it's got that KTM look to it. It's the way it's shaped and everything. We have a vested interest in KTM, thus the design effect of it. Probably the most important thing about it is the price. It's $8,290 right away.
Wow.
They get you 650 cc's, twin cylinder. Not that you're allowed to do 100 mile an hour, but it will do 100 mile an hour.
Capable.
It will do that. Too many dramas. And it's really, really nice to ride. All our CF Motor range, there is not one of them in the range that's not easy to ride. They're simple. What they've done is they've taken a package and they've made it as best they can so that little blokes can come along and buy one and hop on it and just ride it away. And it won't turn around and bite him straight away, or go, oh, this is too fast, or it won't go around corners properly. These are just sweet. It'll just turn around the corner, flows, does everything right. Decent brakes on the front of it. Twin calipers. Got ABS braking on it as well, same as everything else. Water-cooled engine.
got the screen here as well. So.
Yeah, you got a screen as well, touch screen.
Wow.
It's yeah, it's quite amazing. It's got all the right bits and pieces.
What we'll do, guys, is we'll add all the details for this bike on the links below. So most definitely you need to come and check it. It's good to check it on screen, but you need to come in person and actually check this out in real life. So
check it out. Yep.
Cool.
And then the next one is the GT Grand Tourer. And once again, it's cheap, $9,290.
$9,290.
In saying it's, I shouldn't say it's exactly cheap. It's just it's the pricing is correct for what it is, and it's
This one packs a punch as well, isn't it?
It's a great little motorbike, and it's done as a Grand Tourer, so it's got mag wheels, twin brakes again, decent suspension front and rear, little screen on this one so you can get behind it, out of the wind and that. So another fine piece of equipment from CF Moto.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And the only other one we've got is in the middle here.
Yeah, okay,
Let's try and do that.
Let's show this little cutie right here. Look at this one.
You'll see it's got a bit of pink on it.
Yeah.
This is an overflow of the Moto GP. We actually have a couple of these racing in Moto GP this year.
Okay.
It's based on a KTM, but it's still, the rider has to be able to ride it. So this is how our product fronts up of MotoGP. A little bit of pink on the front and back, so it's easy to see it in the distance. And
let's give it a bit of character as well.
yeah, so. the guy last weekend got about 6th or 7th on it, and then he was still accelerating over the start-finish line, and the guy in front of him turned it off too early and got him, broke his leg and hurt him. So I don't know how long it'll take before they fix him up, but it's a little single cylinder 300 cc's. It's and it looks the part. It's quite fast. Sure. We've sold a couple of them as well.
What's the price on this one? Beautiful.
So $6,490 will buy you one of these. Once again with a screen up the front.
Yeah.
Hasn't got a heated seat, but it's got heated grips.
Deb, you mentioned obviously your strong point in the business is behind the scenes. What are you doing to pretty much be an X factor with the service that you provide to your customers?
When we started Steve's Motorcycles, the big differentiator between us and other motorcycling shops, I believe, is that we carried a lot of consumables. So that if you want to go racing on a Saturday morning, you knew that you could come down and you could get a tyre, a tube, oil, filter, air filter or whatever to fit your bike so that you could go riding this afternoon. And definitely tyres. We made tyres our #1 priority. Unfortunately, during COVID, we were very short-staffed and we couldn't change a tyre while you waited. And we are definitely trying to fulfil that now again and build up that tyre part of our business again. I think tyres and consumables kept us alive through those hard years. The differentiator in CF Moto is the ATVs. CF Moto would be the biggest supplier of the ATV market in Australia today. There are a couple of minor suppliers, but all the big names like Yamaha, Suzuki, Can-Am, Polaris, Honda, Yamaha, they have all pulled out of the market because of the new Australian rules and regulations surrounding safety. They have to comply with a whole heap of safety regulations, and they also have to be fitted with the rollover protection bars that you see on our ATVs. CF Moto, well, the importers actually, did all the compliance on them, and our ATVs comply. So we've really cornered that market, and it's a big point of differentiation that anybody needing an ATV, really their best option is to come and see us. Also, the CF Moto product, it is the fastest growing brand at the moment. And the product itself, you get really good value for your money. They're well made, they come with a 2-year warranty, and fitted with so many extra bells and whistles that are only ever available with other brands as added extras, and very well priced. So that's our point of
That's your
differentiation.
competitive edge
Yeah.
over to everyone else.
Yep.
What's just based on that, what's the vision?
Well, we have formed a group called Powerhouse, and Powerhouse is owned. We own over 40% of Powerhouse, and Powerhouse has bought this business, which used to be Steve's Motorcycles. It is now Powerhouse CF Moto. Also the Honda shop, which is now Powerhouse Midland, and also 5-star Yamaha down in Hamilton Hill. And the vision is to actually gain more dealerships, to take on more businesses, and to develop the business of Powerhouse, very similar to the way the car industry has done with AHG and DVG groups and things like that. I think the time of the individual business owner is fast becoming a thing of the past. It is becoming harder and harder to survive as an individual business or a family business. And Powerhouse has given us the opportunity to retain that family business spirit, because we've joined with another family to accomplish this, and still get the benefits of a group, which is having the input from all the staff from all the different sections, getting the best practices from each area.
So you're leveraging
Yeah.
off skill sets and
Yeah.
information, knowledge of everyone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Economies of scale, centralised accounting, being able to offer opportunities to our staff, because if you're in a family business, you're never going to become the dealer principal. But within our group, the opportunity is there for you to come in, on the parts counter and eventually be put in a dealer principal situation. It also gives Stephen and I an exit strategy.
Yeah.
When we do want to leave the business, we will be able to do that and know that all of the processes are there in place that will give the longevity of the company. And Steve can see, instead of closing his doors, he can actually see what all his years in the industry have contributed towards, and it will live on after he's left the industry. For Powerhouse, we just see it as becoming more streamlined, a bigger company.
Yeah.
Eventually, we may float it on the market. We might sell it to a bigger group, a car group, or something like that. But yes, it gives it a future.
Perfect. Just for those who are in the business community, who may be watching this, just wanted to, if you could share probably 2 of your lessons that you've learnt having built what you've built today, reflecting back on your journey to where you are now.
2 lessons that I've learned. One is to value your staff. My staff are my greatest asset and my biggest headache. But they are what your business is.
Yeah.
If you can value your staff, give them the training, nurture them, give them the opportunities that they seek, and then you'll get that value back from them. I have some amazing staff members here, ones that I really value. And 2 of them have been here with me for, one of them for nearly 10 years, one for nearly 14 years, I think. And they are the mainstay of my business. They're the guys that I can leave and know that I can go away and I know they'll look after and run the business the way I want it done. The other lesson is to have systems.
Yeah.
Systems in place. You need to have systems and processes, and you need to have them written down. It's like teaching an alien to make toast. It has to be that clear, so that when somebody comes into a business, the process is there. They can follow it, and they can do their job. Without that, you get too much Chinese whispers, and the policies and the procedures that you've put in place become adjusted with time, and they end up being something that they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I think they're the two biggest lessons. Value your staff and get your system, your business systemised.
Love that. Teaching an alien to make toast.
Yes.
That's a very interesting concept. Okay, so to bring it to, obviously based here in Midland, and just want to acknowledge Midland being the suburb that you are in. What are your thoughts on Midland, and what, specifically this location here being in Midland?
There's no other place to be except Midland. Okay? Midland is where everybody has to come through Midland to get to Perth. And if they want to drop off their motorcycle or they drop off their four-wheeler to be serviced for the day while they go into town and do the other shopping that they need to do, or just complete their shopping within the Midland area, because there's everything available here, then we've got a car park. They can leave their trailer in the car park, so they're not carting that around through the inner city streets. And it's alive, it's vibrant, it's changing. The people are changing, the businesses are changing, it's growing, it's developing. It's a real hub of activity, and it just offers so many opportunities and
It's the mecca for motorcycling.
It is.
Right, so,
I'm not sure about all, but most motorcycling brands, and definitely the major ones, are all represented in Midland. Now, it used to be the hub of motorcycling, used to be Vic Park, but it's not anymore. It's Midland. And this particular location, we've got a dedicated showroom for our new bikes. We've got the parts and accessories area here, huge, great big workshop, dedicated customer car park, and it is so visible. You come along any road coming into Midland and you can see CF Moto. I really think that maybe I should get the roof painted CF Moto as well, so the planes coming into the airport can see us. No, it's just a great spot, very visible to everyone.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're going to go into some personal questions here, Deb, and I'm just going to fire these off to you. Obviously, exciting times ahead with CF Moto and your brand Powerhouse. What's some of the initiatives or some exciting projects that you have coming up?
Well, this year is going to be taken up entirely with Powerhouse.
Okay.
It took a long time to get off the ground. March this year, we finally saw it come together and Powerhouse was formed. And now we're looking to acquire more businesses into the Powerhouse group, to train our current staff and also to employ more staff to provide excellent customer service, to get consistency and systems across all three businesses to start with, and then the extra ones as well, so that will give a more excellent level of customer service, and to provide a wider range of products and services. I think what we're really aiming for is to provide that complete motorcycling experience. You come and you buy a bike off us, we can provide riding lessons for you. You smash your bike, we have a smash repair shop. You know, just everything.
Just so that holistic everything,
yes,
all in one-stop shop for everything.
Yes, that's perfect. What we're looking for. And it won't be a one-stop shop, it'll be a one-stop
emergency
entity.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I guess that's the most exciting thing in the future for us. It's just the beginning of this exciting road of building Powerhouse into something mighty.
Awesome. The vision, obviously, set that aside. How do you then wind down? What do you do just to get away from this place, and what's your kind of happy place where you escape to away from here?
Oh, it would have to be my family.
Okay.
I have a son and a daughter that I just adore, and now I have got a little granddaughter who's 3 months old, Hazel. She's just my world. I also enjoy craft, sewing, knitting, woodworking, gardening, those types of things. I always find that they just give me time to rest and think.
And so it's just a factory reset from this place, and just to get you back into calibration.
And not that there's been a lot of time for resetting lately, not with Powerhouse coming together. But you're definitely my family.
Any final words there, Deb, to anyone who may be watching this, who may be looking to start their own entrepreneurial business journey? And the second one is who is working in family and have family as their community?
If you're going to work with your family, you really need to separate your work life from your home life. You need to be able to learn to shut that door. When you leave work, right, you've left, and it's a whole new world just with the same people in it. What I think is missing in Australian business or in the entrepreneurial space in business in Australia is education. And I think people enter into business blindly, and they're not really equipped well enough to start a business. I know I wasn't, and I even came from a banking background. People become directors without knowing what the responsibility of directorship is. They open businesses without understanding how to deal with the finances and how to best structure the finances so that their business has got cash flow and doesn't suffer from all those startup problems. I just think there's just so much if there was to learn before you actually jump in, and it will save you a lot of drama and a lot of bother. But if you make a mistake, just work it out and get out fast. Don't hang around waiting to go down in the tubes with your business. Stop that problem and change direction and learn from it, because mistakes are great things.
It's part of the process.
Yeah. The failure is the one thing that will lead to your success.
Well, Deb, thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having us.
All right, guys, and that concludes our episode here at CF Moto. I want to thank Deb. Deb, thank you.
Thank you, Quentin.
Steve, thank you.
Thanks, Quentin. Been a great day.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button as we continue to put the spotlight on the businesses you love. We'll see you on the next episode.